Well, let's stay then with this topic. The Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, says media freedom is under siege in his official message for World Press Freedom Day. The day was established by the UN General Assembly in 1993 to raise awareness about the significance of press freedom and to remind governments of their obligation to respect and uphold the right to freedom of expression as stated in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. South Africa media freedom has slipped rank from 25 last year to 38 out of 180 countries. Now let's discuss this further. We're now joined by Professor Glenda Daniels. She's an Associate Professor of Media Studies at Wits University and is SANEF's Gauteng convenor. Thank you so much, Prof, for your time. So we've just heard now that South Africa has gone down in ranking this year. Now just talk to us about what that means, about the state of the country's journalism and, of course, how this will impact the reporting on the upcoming general elections.
Well, Nati, thanks for having me, but it's extremely serious that South Africa's dropped 13 whole points in the World Press Freedom rankings because, number one, this year is our big election. It's our most contested election. We need journalists in every far-flung corner of the world, and we need them to operate without any fear and intimidation and no censorship. So what the World Press Freedom Index has shown, in particular, we've dropped in the economic context, meaning there have been closures of media, so we don't have as much plurality of voice, we don't have as much reporting from rural areas, we've had closures of local newspapers, and we've also had newsrooms that have been depleted of senior staff. All this will have implications on reporting and for journalism, which is not just about journalism, of course, it's about the public's right to know, the public's access to information to make informed decisions and so forth. So to go back to these indicators on the political score, last year in 2023, we were at 77 and this year we are at 72, which means there's some political interference in journalism. And then the big score that's been the big drop has been the economic indicator, which is from 64 to 58. Where we do score highly is on the legal, which is 80, which means the judiciary is actually upholding the Constitution more than it's looking towards politics or other influences. And we've scored well on the social cultural indicators. Last year we were 84, this year we were 82, which is still quite high, meaning that we have a robust civil society, we have a robust belief in the media from civil society. People believe that by and large the media fulfills its important role in a democracy. So that's the good news. And on security, meaning safety of journalists, we've also actually dropped quite largely from in the 83 to 74. So that's where we stand on the World Press Freedom Index. Obviously, it's disappointing to go from place number 38 to number 25. We were very excited last year when we were 25 and beating the global north countries such as the US, the UK, etc. We still place number 2 in Africa. Namibia beats us. But, it's just worrying that we could have interference in different arenas, such as the political and the fact that commercial imperatives have impeded press freedom. It's a very important imperative.
Yeah. Professor Daniels, you mentioned, the public's right to know, and I want to touch a little bit on that, particularly because we're not the only country that is going to an election. We know, of course, that half of the world population will be heading to general or even local elections. So that question then of the, how to become important in your reporting and how to become, independent in your reporting. And of course, the protection of press freedom becomes especially important as we have already seen how, the disruption of the power of artificial intelligence, for one, in the spread of mis and disinformation is becoming so prevalent.
Absolutely. So what the traditional media, or mainstream media as we call it, has had to contend with in the past has now been overly complicated by the social media space, which is, conflated with journalism. Of course, it's not the same thing. And within the space is the issue of deep fakes, misinformation, political party supporters trolling journalists when they don't agree, because journalists are often telling the truth, more often than not telling the truth, presenting facts and so forth. And then you get political party supporters and trolls and bots who are engaged in deep fake news and just engaged in terrible trolling and cyber misogyny, especially obviously of women journalists. So this is the kind of space that people have to become very media literate about, and it's very difficult because even people who come from the media space, such as myself, can be fooled. Journalists themselves can be fooled. So it's a complicated space, but it's a complex and complicated space by AI and by technology, which has brought about this phenomenon of fake news and deep fakes. The fact remains, journalists have to just be loyal to their mission, which is to be a reliable conduit of information to the public, especially now on the eve of elections. We've got a couple of weeks to go before elections, and everybody, all these politicians and political parties want their space in the limelight. Yeah. And they're going to do everything they can for it.